So not only we have a big structure there, not only we have a big one, we notice something else. Can you see that? What is that here? That wall here. It is a terrace wall. It's a terrace. It's not a wall of the city. It's a terrace. What is the goal of a terrace? Is to hold. That means if you are in a place that is so steep and you build a big construction, it might collapse on the edge. So what do? You build a big terrace to hold it. So what can be the large stone structure? Can you guess?
David's house.
A palace. Now, the archaeologists, you say that David's house, the palace, archaeologists, they need a little bit more proof. So nobody wants to say the palace of King David, so they say the large stone structure. Yeah. That's a great how do you say that? PC, politically correct. So the large, they don't want, I think they are waiting to find maybe, a little heart with an arrow, David loved Bathsheba. And then they would say, that's the place. Actually, I will believe it only when I see a window that looks straight into a bathroom. Only then I will say that's the place of David. So you can see that we have a terrace that supports part of this large stone structure with these beautiful capitals. A regular person doesn't have columns in the house, because when you have a capital, that means there's a column. And above the capital you have the roof. And when you make a big capital, a big column, that means the roof is solid. It's not just some little wood. We are talking of a palace, no doubt. And the time fits. We're talking of the 10th century BC. So that's the time of Jerusalem, the time of David. You know that David was a king already for 7 years. He ruled in Hebron. And then the prophet tells him, look, you want to unite the kingdom of Israel, the 12 tribes, you cannot be seen as a king of only one tribe. The king of, because he's from the tribe of Judah, we have to say, but he has to be accepted by all the others. And the main problem, ruling in Hebron, that was a big city and important, and remember, the patriarchs are buried there, Abraham, Isaac and Jacob and their wives are buried. That's a very important place. But it's in the heart of the land of Judah, really the heart of Judah. And they tell him, you have to find some place that has to be neutral, that everyone can relate to. And what can it be? A small town called Jebus, where there were Canaanites of them. There were different tribes of Canaanites. The Jebusites were living here. Why was it so important? Because it did not belong to any of the tribes. Either it was insignificant or it was too strong for the Israelites who conquered the land to conquer it. They left it in the hand of the Canaanites. Now it was a time to take it. First, it doesn't belong to any of the tribes, which makes it very good. And secondly, it has even a more important holy place. The town is built on the slope of a hill that is called Mount Moriah. On the top there is a threshing floor. And what was on that threshing floor? What happened there?
It was
Abraham, the Mount Moriah. Moriah, Moreya, we have understood. Moreh, his teacher, is also Moreh, God is showing. Moreh. So where do I go, says Abraham? To the place I will show you. I will indicate to you. Moriah. And that's the place where you cannot beat it. That's a covenant between God and his people through Abraham. So that makes a holy place. That means a religious center. We have a political center, and that's how David comes after 7 years in Hebron, comes to rule in Jerusalem. Now, how did he capture the city?
He came up
the town. It's in the translation in Hebrew it's written the tzinor. Tzinor. What is a tzinor? Is a pipe. It's a pipe. So what pipe? automatically you say pipe, it's water. And now water, nobody understood for centuries. Why that? Because there was no archaeological excavations. It's very difficult to understand sometimes in a text what exactly they mean. What pipe? Only after you have found the tunnel of Hezekiah and excavated everywhere, then everything becomes clear. Remember that when Jesus sent that blind man to the pool of Siloam, nobody knew that it was connected to the spring. Why that? Because the water was coming from the spring through a tunnel, and people have forgotten the tunnel. They believed that the pool was on the spring because the water was always fresh. Only in the 19th century, with a modern excavation, we found the tunnel of Hezekiah, and then we saw, oh, the water, of course, and then we can read backward the Bible and say, it is written there, Hezekiah made a tunnel. But again, you say, Prophet Isaiah, they say things that sometimes that's complicated to understand. And that's one thing that always we can understand things written in the Bible only afterwards, especially when we are talking about archaeology. So let's keep in mind the fact that the tzinor was not known, that pipe was not known until we found the water system. And actually, since the water system was built by Hezekiah at the time of David, it did not exist. Now we have a second riddle. So what is a tunnel? The Canaanite had the same problem. If the spring is down in the valley and the walls are on the hill, how do you go there? Like they did it, like we saw in Megiddo in Hazor. They cut a shaft all the way to the water. So there is already an early shaft allowing the Canaanites to go to the spring, more or less like a well. And that we can see today. It's called Warren Shaft. Warren. Who is Warren? Chuck Warren, Charles Warren. Captain, he's a Freemason, and he's actually looking for the Ark of the Covenant. He never found the Ark of the Covenant, but he found a million other places. He found the tunnel of Hezekiah, the shaft. He found all kinds of findings around the temple. He had the luck to, and maybe the influence, to get the permission from the Ottoman to dig in many places. Remember, we are talking in Muslim areas, and he's a Christian after all, and that was not given so easily. So we owe to this man a lot of excavations, some damage he did also, but bottom line, we have the shaft that much more than probably is a place from which David's men entered and captured the city by surprise. Have you read the text of the conquest? There's no blood spill. Have you noticed? It doesn't look like people were massacred. That's surprising, yes? What happened, we don't know. We know the king was made prisoner. The king of Jebus, what was his name? No, the king of Jebus is Aravna. And we have a very odd conversation between David and Aravna. What does he say? Aravna, you have a threshing floor on the top of the hill. Will you sell it to me? And what Aravna answers, like you do, probably laughs. I'm your prisoner. You want me to sell you? You've taken my city, it's yours. What do you want from me? And David answers, no, I want to buy it. What does it mean? Legally. I don't want to take it. David cares of the future. He says, I don't want future generation to say I've stolen it. So will you sell it to me? And all of a sudden the prisoners takes more. Oh, you want to buy it? You know what? It's so cheap, I'm giving it to you for free. David say, how cheap is it? 600 shekel. It's so cheap. I don't want your money. 600 shekel is nothing. Take it for free. And what did David do? That was a very common way in the antiquity to stop bargaining. You tell the guy who wants to buy, look, it's 2 cents. Take it. It's just the value of it is just 2 cents. I prefer give it to you. And what the other understands, don't try to lower him to 1 cent. Pay the price. That means he's not going down. We see the same discussion between Abraham and Ephron. I think it's Ephron with the tomb of Machpelah. I prefer to give it to you for, again, a few hundred shekels. When we say shekel, is not money. They did not have coin at that time. So what is a shekel? It's a lump, whatever weight. The word shekel in Hebrew means a weight. It's a weight. So you weigh the silver. It's over the time the standards of the weight have changed, so we don't know how much. But that must have been a good sum of money. Money was not yet invented. Who invented the money? Lydia. That means somewhere in the Greek influence, and it became very common with Alexander. And then everybody adopted the money. So we are talking of the time of the Old Testament. There's virtually no money. It's just transaction, bartering, and others. So that's what I wanted to tell you about the place. David captured the place and take it, and built a palace. And probably what you are looking at is the palace of King David. Wait for news in the future, and maybe one day they will be able to say honestly, we have found the palace of King David. Okay, so we're going somewhere there. There's room. We'll sit and we have a teaching. Okay.